1476 AM, Cool Country 2KA with Bondi, and the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders, are bringing the best bull riders in the world to Acer Arena Saturday, July the 9th for the national finals. So what's this all about? I'm calling Troy Dunn, the president of the PBR in Australia, and, by the way, Australia's only world champion bull rider so far.
Hello.
Hello, Troy.
Yes.
Hi, it's John calling from Cool Country 2KA. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good, mate. What are you up to?
Oh, not much. I'm just after a bit of information on this PBR Sydney Acer Arena thing coming up on Saturday, July the 9th. And being a city boy, born and bred, the whole concept of mixing it with bulls makes me wonder. If I can just tell you a quick little story. As I said, I'm from the city, but I've always liked having a bit of space around me, so I've tended to live on acreage, like 5 acres or 10 acres or so. So not much of property, more as a big backyard, but you can have a few pets, horses, pigs, a few chickens, and one day we were at the stock auctions, we picked up a Brahman bull calf. The bloke who bought his mum didn't want him, so we took him home, we hand-reared him. God, we went through some milk. But he grew and he grew and he grew some more into this magnificent huge beast, and he lived in the paddock next to the house. And my party trick was to let myself into the bull paddock and wave my arms around until he spotted me, at which point he would charge, and I mean full bore. You could feel the ground shaking as he pounded toward you, and I'd bravely stand my ground as he'd lumber to a halt so close to me that he could sniff me pockets, sniff the pockets to see if there's any dog biscuits in them, because he loved those. And while he was doing that, I could grab his horns and with the merest of pressure push his head down toward the ground, and he'd just lie down so I could scratch around where the horns grew out of his head and sit on his shoulder. And from back at the house, it looked like I'd wrestled him down.
Right.
Great show. But then the bloke next door got cows, and things changed. China, the bull, this dirty, great big Brahman bull, got into the cow paddock, and he didn't want to leave. And anyway, after much chasing around and running around, I got him sandwiched between a shed and a fence, and there was only one way out, and that was past me, and I was the boss. He walked up to me. I grabbed his horns to do the I'm in control, lie him down trick. And even with my full weight, his head didn't budge. Then he lifted me off the ground as if I was nothing, and at that point we both knew the rules had changed. Yeah, and I stepped back, and he went Burko. He totaled the shed, he took out a bunch of saplings, and he bucked, and he kicked his way back to the cows. Now, what I learnt that day from that bull was that to a bull, a human being, no matter how big or strong you are, is totally insignificant.
Yeah,
would you agree?
Sure. That's for sure. There's a bit of an old rodeo clown joke when there's a bull bailing up in the arena, and he always asks the crowd, because he's mic'd up, he says, where does that bull sleep? And nobody says anything, then he says, anywhere he wants.
Fair enough. Now, Troy, you are, I believe, Australia's only bull riding world champion and president of the PBR Australia, the Professional Bull Riders Association. Yep. You're obviously passionate about this. What sets your sport apart?
Well, pretty much it's only bull riding, so, the other rodeo events have all the different other disciplines involved, the roping and the bronc riding, horseback and horse riding events and steer wrestling, that type of thing. And normally they go, rodeos might go all day, but ours, it's, pretty much packaged for entertainment purposes, and we feature the best bull riders in the country or from around the world on the best lineup of bulls we can get. And again, most rodeos might have one bloke or two blokes there that turns up with bulls, so we probably have 10 or a dozen there with just their very best. So it's first and foremost a competition, and then a bull riding competition. After that, we go into the nice venues like Acer Arena and entertainment centres, that type of thing, and we got the light shows and the pyros and and the cool video clips and the rock and roll atmosphere, mate.
Now, so you got Shay Fisher's going to be performing as well.
Yeah, she'll be there. She's pretty big time, now in the US, and I know her dad really well, Eddie Fisher. He was a good old bull and bareback rider back in the day, and she's going really well. She's really entertaining,
Cool Country 2KA, talking with Troy Dunn, the president of the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders in Australia, bringing the national finals to Acer Arena Saturday, July the 9th. And here's one of the people you'll see performing, though not actually on a bull. She'll certainly be belting out a good tune. She does. Here's Shay Fisher at Cool Country. Just the excuse. Back to Troy after this.
hard to keep my mind from feeling cheated by the way that I've been treated. I broke down, been burned out. Right now, I'm believing you're just the excuse that I need. A real good reason to set my heart free. Forget him, start living for me and move on. Stop worrying about things I'm not. Be thankful for all that I got. Give love one more shot. You're just the excuse that I need. I don't mean to come on strong, but it's been way too long. I'm hanging on to days gone by. Tear caught my eye now. There's hope, I know. This may not be forever. Your smile, laid back style, has got me feeling better. You're just the excuse that I need. A real good reason to set my heart free. Forget him, start living for me and move on. Stop worrying about things I'm not. Be thankful for all that I got. Give love one more shot. You're just the excuse that I need. Well, I'm into the clear and I'm out the cloud. I got a life to live. I'm gonna live it now. Live it loud. You're just the excuse that I need. A real good reason to set my heart free. Forget him, start living for me and move on. Stop worrying about things I'm not. Be thankful for all that I got. Give love one more shot. You're just the excuse that I need. You're just the excuse that I need. The excuse that I need.
Cool Country 2KA, Just the Excuse. Shay Fisher, who will be performing at the PBR National Finals Saturday, July 9 at Acer Arena. Hi, I'm John Bond. On the phone, Australia's only world champion bull rider so far and the president of the PBR. Was going to be an extraordinary event. Troy Dunn's on the line.
Now, the bulls themselves, I was talking about my pet bull that grew up and discovered cows and developed an attitude, but you're actually breeding bulls to have more of an attitude in this sport. Have I got that right?
Yeah, pretty much, you know. It probably doesn't really matter, you know, if they're wild or have... They've all got attitude, that's for sure, but, you know, some of the bulls that we use, you know, are that educated, you know, and being around that many people and hand-fed and that type of thing, you know, as you know, they can get pretty quiet, so they don't have to be crazy or wild to be, you know, a PBR bull. It's just, it's a matter of when the gate opens that they really buck and they do their job and they, you know, poke back out of the arena, and they really pass that gene on, that, you know, that bucking gene in cattle's really strong, and if you get a really good bull that's been a good bucking bull for a long time and put him over some cows that are sisters to bucking bulls, well, you know, 9 times out of 10 you're going to come up with a good bucking bull, yeah.
Okay, so where do you get the riders from? What sort of breeding programs involved in that?
Well, there's a lot of the blokes are pretty well bred for it as well, and you know, their fathers did it and their mothers had brothers that did it. So, but yeah, for the most part, you know, we have a Touring Pro series that's, you know, the feeder system to the international events that we have coming up, and we take just the cream of the crop, you know, the top 8, you know, in the country from that tour, and we have, you know, probably about 5 Australian guys that are on the Built Ford Tough series of the PBR in the US, which is the TV series, which is a pretty big achievement really for Australian bull riders, you know, because of the fact that, you know, they only take 40 into that deal, and you know, there's, you know, tens of thousands of bull riders in the US and Brazil, so to have that many on Built Ford Tough is a pretty big achievement. You know, we've got guys like Brendan Clark and Ben Jones and David Kennedy, the Pete and Jared Farley, and those kind of guys. They'll be all here competing, as well as we got fellas from the US, Canada, and Mexico. So the international riders alone, there's $6 million worth of riders heading over here. So that's the accumulated money that they've won. So there's guys that have been here quite a bit, regulars such as, you know, how golf has their John Daly's and that type of thing. The guys that like to come over here every year. Well, Rocky McDonald from Mexico and Luke Snyder are two of those guys. They come every year. Rocky's from Mexico, Luke's from Texas. Another bloke, Pistol Robinson's been here before, Matt Boland, they're both from Texas. Francisco Morales is Mexican. He hadn't been here before, but he's been on the Mexican World Cup side. And Zane Lambert from Canada. So we got a real strong field, and it's going to be really tough competition all round, really, because, you know, we have 3 rounds of competition at each of our international events, and the guys are really going to have to get 3 bulls rode. There'll be none of this winning it, you know, on 1 or 2 bulls. They'll have to ride all their 3 bulls. Yeah. And make for good watching.
So I'm just thinking what your insurance bill must be like.
Well, I think the insurance actually, somebody told me that the insurance to insure a bull riding event is less than if you wanted to have a trail ride or a pony club. So there you go. Yeah,
I'm astounded. Cool Country 2KA with Bondi, talking with Troy Dunn, the president of the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders in Australia, talking about the national finals coming up at Acer Arena Saturday, July the 9th. Tickets, by the way, through Ticketek. And as the best bull riders in the world go for their 8-second rides, here's Jake Owen.
Come on! I said, hey girl, what's your name? Haven't I seen you before? I recognize them dark green eyes when you walk through the door. Are you alone or are you with someone? She said, a matter of fact, I'm not. So I took her hand, that's when it all began, and we headed towards the parking lot. And she said, hey boy, do you mind taking me home tonight? 'Cause I ain't ever seen a country boy with tires on his truck this high. I said, climb on up, but honey, watch the cup that I'm spitting my dip inside. And hold on tight, 'cause it's gonna be wilder than any 8-second ride. We went riding around, rocking to the sound of a country boy can survive. And I knew then she was my kind of girl, 'cause she was singing every single line. And she slid on over, put my hand on her shoulder, and I asked her what she wanted to do. She said, it really don't matter where we go, just as long as I'm riding with you. She said, hey boy, do you mind taking me home tonight? 'Cause I ain't ever seen a country boy with tires on his truck this high. I said, well, climb on up, but honey, watch the cup that I'm spitting my dip inside. And hold on tight, 'cause it's gonna be wilder than any 8-second ride. So we headed out to Old Tobacco Road, put the tailgate down, we made love. She said, a true country boy is hard to find, but I found one wilder than any 8-second ride. She said, hey boy, do you mind taking me home tonight? 'Cause I ain't never seen a country boy with tires on his truck this high. I said, well, climb on up, but honey, watch the cup that I'm spitting my dip inside. And hold on tight, 'cause it's gonna be wilder than any 8-second ride. Yeah, hold on tight, 'cause it's gonna be wilder than any 8-second ride.
A Cool Country 2KA, Jake Owen, who reckons he's found something better than any 8-second ride. I'm John Bond, and on the phone, a fellow who might like to differ on that one, Troy Dunn, the president of the PBR, the Professional Bull Riders in Australia, and Australia's only world champion bull rider so far, though it would seem there's a bunch of guys in the wings who just might repeat that feat. The national finals of the PBR coming to Ace Arena Saturday, July 9, as we talk with Troy.
Now, there's a bunch of events. You've got Brisbane, you're going through Townsville, Newcastle, and then the national finals in Sydney. So is this to discover the Australian champion, a world champion, or is this a stage toward the world championship?
Well, it's all of the above almost, John, yeah. Okay. Like I said, there's been a series of national events that we've had, and the guys are qualifying to get into these international events. So we'll have 3 international events, and then we'll have our national final. So at the end of it, we'll crown, and it's accumulation of points, like a drivers or riders championship.
Yeah.
And that last event in Sydney will determine the next Australian champion. As well, we'll crown an Australian finals champion, which is only determined at our last event, which is Sydney.
Yeah.
That's the next biggest thing to win, I guess, from the Australian Championship is the Australian finals. We also crown a rookie champion, and also all the points and the money that they accumulate at all these events go towards qualifications for the World Finals in Vegas at the end of the year, as well as to qualify for Built Ford Tough qualification to get into the top 40 into the televised series. So there's plenty to ride for the fellas, that's for sure.
Okay, now you say riding, so what's the deal? You just got to stay stuck on top of this thing while it bucks around for a certain period of time, or is there sort of technique involved?
Yeah, well, there's pretty much how it's determined. The winner is you only have to ride for 8 seconds. Once the gate opens, the stopwatch starts, and it's an electronic timer, and it blows a horn at 8 seconds. At that time, you can get off. You're not allowed to touch the animal with the free hand. You only ride them with one hand.
Yeah.
And if you buck off before the 8 seconds, it's also disqualification. There's 2 judges. Each judge has 50 points to work with. He judges the bull out of 25 and the ride out of 25, and to arrive at a score out of 100. The high score wins. And that's pretty much how we determine the winners, yeah.
So you've got these massively powerful bulls. What would it be fair to say, about a ton of weight?
Some of them can weigh up to a ton. Not necessarily the hardest bull to ride is the biggest one. There's been lots and lots of world champion bulls or Australian champion bulls that have been only little fellas, so pretty much not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight.
Yes.
But it's those bulls that buck really hard and are real serious about getting the bloke on the ground, yeah.
All right, it sounds like it's going to be an extraordinary night. There is some danger involved, obviously, so a family event?
Well, it is, and if somebody gets hurt, the crowd is at a liberal distance to where they, you can probably see that there's someone probably going to be injured a little bit, but NASCAR and all kinds of races is dangerous as well, and we don't have any worse wrecks than car racing or motorbike racing. But it's fun because for all the family, because the family can go there and they can get right into it. There's like I said, there's the pyros and there's the cool clips and there's the bullfighters running around saving blokes, and
it's a full-on production show.
Absolutely. We start out in the dark and the music builds, and then we got our in-house announcers, and they're really great at what they do. They keep you informed, let you know what's going on, and they can really make it dramatic. And by the time the last round comes around, and especially at our finals, when all the tiles are on the line and you got, a chute full of a dozen of the baddest bulls in the country, and all the tiles are on the line, the atmosphere in there is pretty thick. So it can be, it's really dramatic, and anything can happen, and 9 times out of 10 it does.
Okay, the national finals, the PBR national finals, Saturday, July 9, Ace Arena, so it's indoors, it's in comfort, you're warm, you're up close, You get to see it either right in front of you or on the screens. Tickets through ticketek.com.au. And Troy, it's been a pleasure talking to you, mate, and I am really starting to look forward to seeing this thing. It's going to be a powerful night's fun.
Yeah, well, you'll be hooked, mate. You'll be a bull riding fan after going to one of these.
I'd rather be watching somebody else doing it than doing it myself, I can tell you that.
Well, that's the way I feel about it anymore as well.
Troy, thanks for your time. Much appreciated.
All right. Thanks, John.
Cheers.
Troy Dunn there, the president of the PBR in Australia, with the national finals coming up. Ace Arena, Saturday, July 9. It is going to be an extraordinary night. Tickets, you can get them through ticketek.com.au. Best of new and classic country. Back into it after these.